I'm ready when you are.
Welcome to another edition of Points of Interest, brought to you by the Lebanon Area Chamber of Commerce. My name is Paul Boucher. I'm the President and CEO of the Lebanon Area Chamber of Commerce. And as we do each week, present you a program on the events and goings-on in the Upper Valley. This week is a little bit different. Our guest today is Governor Hassan. Governor Hassan came up to the Upper Valley to talk about the state of the state, and she addressed the Lebanon and Hanover chambers, and that will be our program for today. This custom of having the governor come up to speak has started back in the 1950s when Governor Dwinell, a resident of Lebanon, decided that would be a good idea to do, and so on the off year of election, the governor comes up and speaks on the state of the state. So this has been going along to the mid-50s, this custom with the Hanover Chamber. So that will be our program today. Governor Hassan, as you will see, addresses all the topics that are important to not only the business community, but the residents of New Hampshire, particularly with the Affordable Care Act and Medicaid enhancement. And she'll address those in this program today. Next week will be unique also. Next week we will be honoring Ray Burton. Ray Burton, longtime county commissioner from Grafton County and governor's council, who was a dear friend of the chamber. And we got two old friends of his, and I will be reminiscing on our experiences with Ray. Frank Klim from Service Credit, a longtime friend of his, and Mike Cryans, who is county commissioner with Ray and drove him. They covered the state, the two of them, over the years. And so we'll just honor Ray and talk about some stories about Ray. And so that will be next week's program, which I think will be very interesting. So we invite you to listen to Governor Hassan.
So thank you, Drew, for the introduction. Thank you, Paul, for chairing the chamber and welcoming me, and Janet and Donna as well. Thank you to my colleagues, Senator Pierce, and all of the state representatives who are here today for all the work you do in Concord. And I know we are joined by a number of local officials too, and I am very grateful that all of you are here. Your work to support the vibrant business communities of Lebanon and Hanover is so critical to our state's economic future. And it's an honor to be here today and to serve as your governor. And let me tell you that being the job of being governor of New Hampshire is just about the best job in the world, and is actually an even better job than I imagined. One of my favorite days as governor began right up here with a grand opening ceremony where we used a plasma torch to cut a metal ribbon at a new facility for Concord. And the day ended with a maple tree tapping event to mark the beginning of the maple syrup season. That is quintessential New Hampshire. We are industrious, independent, and innovative while holding on to the traditions that make us strong. The people of New Hampshire want things to work, and they're always willing to tell you what is on their minds, what is happening in their lives, and what their ideas are for the future. We stand at the threshold of a bright new future. We are as well positioned as any state to lead the country in innovative economic growth. That's the kind of growth that will lift all of our people and will define the 21st century. The Granite State continues to be ranked as one of the healthiest, safest, and most livable states in the nation. We have the capacity to have the best workforce and most forward-looking economy in the nation, and to foster the kind of business innovation that will create jobs and strengthen our middle class. That has been my focus since entering office 10 months ago, bringing people together to build a stronger, more innovative New Hampshire, a New Hampshire with more good jobs that can support a growing middle class, and where all of our citizens are included in our shared success and our prosperity. And through our bipartisan, fiscally responsible, 2-year budget, I'm confident that we have set the foundation for a more innovative economic future with a strong, growing middle class. The budget includes many provisions outlined in my Innovate New Hampshire Jobs Plan intended to support growing businesses. It helps strengthen our workforce by significantly restoring funding for the university and community college systems in exchange for them freezing tuition. That's the first tuition freeze at our state university system in 25 years. A freeze that helps make college more affordable for 22,000 of our young people and their families, and will help business have access to more highly skilled workers. Our budget strengthens economic development activity, increases travel and tourism promotion, and improves international trade assistance. And we have doubled and made permanent our state's research and development tax credit to help businesses invest in new technologies that can lead to growth and job creation. These investments will help New Hampshire build the strongest workforce in the nation and attract and grow innovative businesses with good jobs that can support a strong middle class. At the same time, our budget invests in areas that help middle-class families and businesses succeed, recognizing that our economic success and our ability to seize the promise of innovation also depend on our efforts to maintain our high quality of life. We made significant progress on the priorities that are critical for improving the health and well-being of our people and our communities, helping to keep New Hampshire one of the safest, healthiest, and most livable states in the nation. Our bipartisan budget provides $24 million to allow the state to move forward with implementing the long-delayed 10-year mental health plan. The budget funds the waitlist for services for people with developmental disabilities, restores the Children in Need of Services or CHINS program, fully funds the Land and Community Heritage Investment Program, or LCHIP, and increases aid to cities and towns. We've also taken steps to strengthen public safety by putting 15 additional state troopers on the road, maintaining drug task force teams, and funding the cold case unit. In addition, the capital budget funds numerous job-creating projects, continues the state's business one-stop efforts, and invests in career and technology education centers. It also provides funding to build a long-overdue new women's prison with facilities and programs that can help individuals safely move back into society when they have served their sentences. And we accomplished this progress while maintaining fiscal responsibility and protecting the New Hampshire advantage. Our budget was responsibly balanced with no income or sales tax. Of course, no budget comes without sacrifice and compromise, and we still have significant challenges left to address. That includes continuing to support measures that will help businesses grow and create jobs. It includes developing modern energy strategies to help reduce energy prices for consumers and businesses. It also means reaching consensus on a plan to modernize our roads, bridges, and other transportation infrastructure. But our most present challenges at the moment for both our people and working families is the need to move forward with Medicaid expansion. With special session votes coming up just this Thursday, New Hampshire is in danger of missing a critical opportunity to strengthen the health and financial well-being of working families by expanding health care coverage to over 50,000 of our residents. These are real people and families whose quality of life will be greatly improved. Hardworking men and women who deserve the security of health insurance. They are our healthcare workers, restaurant employees, construction workers, retail clerks. They work in our schools and local grocery stores. People who struggle to make ends meet and put food on the table while earning less than $16,000 a year. And because their jobs don't provide insurance, when they need health care, they are forced to go to the emergency room and those costs are shifted to all of our people and businesses. But there is nearly $2.5 billion in federal funding available to allow them to finally access health coverage while creating jobs and strengthening our economy. Expanded health insurance would provide these families with coverage for preventive care, mental health, and substance and alcohol abuse. It will reduce cost shifting among businesses, and it will reduce uncompensated care at hospitals like Dartmouth Hitchcock. The federal government will pay 100% of the cost for the first 3 years and no less than 90% of the cost thereafter. For every day that we delay expansion past January 1st, we stand to lose at least $500,000 federal dollars per day that New Hampshire can never recover. Those are funds that Granite State taxpayers contributed to and that our people and our economy need. Both Democratic and Republican governors around the country, including Governor Chris Christie, Jan Brewer, John Kasich, and more, are moving forward with Medicaid expansion because they realize it is the right and smart path to take. From the very beginning of this debate, it's been clear that accepting these funds is a good deal for our people, our state budget, and our economy. Even so, in June, we compromised the wishes of some senators to study the issue further, rather than pass a law that would have allowed us to plan for and implement expansion. And after months of study, a bipartisan committee recommended, with a bipartisan vote, a roadmap to a New Hampshire plan for Medicaid expansion. The House of Representatives then put forward a special session bill that builds on the study commission's bipartisan recommendations to provide a workable, fiscally responsible path forward that's right for New Hampshire, a plan that would protect our state budget, and a plan that would encourage private insurance. But Senate leaders then proposed different and new ideas. They want to require all of the newly eligible low-income individuals to purchase private coverage on the health insurance exchange created by the Affordable Care Act, using federal funds to provide premium assistance. The plan that the Senate proposes has no safeguards to ensure that it is cost-effective for taxpayers, no requirements for increased competition in the exchange, no measures to ensure state control or broader insurance networks. The Senate plan is a massive undertaking, which to work requires more competition than the one insurance company we currently have on the federal exchange. And it also requires a detailed cost-benefit analysis. And as written, their plan would allow a few private entities, some with direct financial interests, to develop and control the program while New Hampshire taxpayers bear all the risk. Their plan requires difficult federal approvals and new systems in state government. And the Senate bill gives us only 6 to 9 months to develop it, get it approved by the federal government, and get it implemented so that people can begin enrolling in private insurance next October. And if the private insurance companies, the federal government, and technology can't live up to the Senate's unrealistic timeline, then the people, healthcare providers, and businesses of New Hampshire will pay the price. If reality doesn't live up to the Senate's hopes and dreams, then people automatically lose their health insurance. We can't take that kind of risk with people's lives. And the only alternative to their unworkable proposal that the Senate has put forward today, just delaying offering people health insurance, is equally wrong. The Senate bill as written simply will not work. And I will not set up our state and our families for failure. We are talking about the health and well-being of our people and our families. We cannot take this lightly. We cannot rush this process, and we cannot pull the rug out from under our people by taking away their health care. However, I know that we can reach common ground. Speaker Morelli and I have developed and revised the revised House bill that we worked on now includes a compromise path forward. But the compromise we offer would do so on a timeline that allows for workable, responsible, and effective implementation, including increased competition to ensure cost effectiveness on the insurance exchange. Unfortunately, Senate leadership at the moment is taking a my way or the highway approach to this negotiation. Despite how far we've come, despite how close our proposals now are, they have refused to consider any timeline other than the unworkable plan in their bill. What separates the two bills now is not philosophy. It is, in fact, reality. In reality, the Republican bill simply doesn't work, and we can only seize this opportunity for Medicaid expansion, for health care for our working families, if we have a bill that works. We can't put working people in a situation where their health coverage will be taken away because one party insisted on unrealistic timelines. I understand that the Senate believes strongly in the need for real deadlines, but they don't want an open-ended plan. We are open to deadlines, but only if they are realistic and workable. But we need Senate leadership to be negotiating constructively to develop those realistic deadlines. I am confident that there are members of the Senate who still want to get this done and work constructively on behalf of the people of New Hampshire. I hope one of this region's senators, Senator Bob Odell, is one such senator. I know that Senator Odell, like so many here today, understands how much healthcare expansion means to our communities. The impact of expansion is particularly significant for hospitals like Dartmouth-Hitchcock. While I understand the concerns about Medicaid rates and have compromised to address them, we all know that without expansion, our hospitals will continue to face rising costs for uncompensated care. We need to expand coverage so thousands of families can stop using the emergency room for primary care and start getting the preventive care they need at the appropriate time. And so I'm here today to, among other things, ask Senator Odell to work with us to come to the table and support a plan to expand health coverage that actually works. We know that at least one senator, Senator Stiles, has acknowledged the need for Senate Republicans to come to the table and reach a meaningful, workable compromise. We hope that Senator Odell, who has worked so constructively with members of both parties in the past, is another who's willing to work towards a realistic compromise. And I'm also here today to ask that members of the Dartmouth-Hitchcock community and all of our providers to join with us and encourage senators to negotiate constructively. We can make the Senate Republicans' framework possible, but only if we have timelines and measures in place that are in the best interest of our people and our families. And we can use the 100% federal match period to establish a New Hampshire plan that will work from day one and for the long term. We are really, really close, and I'm confident we can do this. I hope that Senator Odell and his colleagues will put the hardworking people and families of our state first and negotiate constructively to finalize a New Hampshire plan that can be implemented successfully and responsibly. My door continues to be open for productive discussions. And again, I'm confident we can get it done. Because as we saw with the overwhelming bipartisan support for the priorities in our budget, job creation, public safety, education, the care of our most vulnerable citizens, and the preservation of our natural resources, our shared values as Granite Staters are far more significant than our differences. We must continue working together in the spirit of bipartisanship to keep our state moving forward towards a stronger, more innovative economic future. Because New Hampshire's mission and the American mission has always been to move forward, to build a brighter future by fully including all of the people in our society, unleashing each individual's talent and energy, reinforcing established strengths, and giving each other the confidence to dare to find new ones. When our founders began the great experiment that is the United States of America, the notion that we could operate as a true citizen democracy while also becoming an economic force in the world was indeed a revolutionary one. The idea of being a truly self-governing people, where all people could have an equal voice in decision-making, was dismissed as unattainable by some. But our founders recognized that the freedom to self-govern and the ability to succeed economically are necessarily intertwined. That was their genius. Our founders were imperfect. There is no doubt that our nation was imperfect at its beginning, and it continues to be imperfect today. But each generation of Granite Staters and Americans has embraced the challenge of self-governance and has, as a result, has reaped the reward of progress. That's motion towards a more perfect country. That is really what this last year in New Hampshire has been about. Our leaders came together, demonstrated that when we embrace our values of inclusion and cooperation and work together, we can set the foundation for innovative economic growth that will lift all of our people and will define the 21st century. To maintain our progress and address our challenges, we must continue to take that same approach. And it's an approach that is modeled, frankly, by all of you and all of our citizens. We have what I like to call in New Hampshire an all-hands-on-deck spirit. And I know I am looking at a room of people who, in addition to running businesses, working in their communities, raising their families, coaching Little League, and doing any number of other things that most of the rest of us don't notice, but are critical to who we are as a state, the success we have as a state. When I look out at all of you and know how much you do, how much you engage, it reminds me that you have the same right to expect that from your elected leaders too. We are a remarkable place. One of my great privileges as governor is getting to travel to other places to talk to other governors. And I tell them that in addition to being this remarkable state where ordinary people do extraordinary things, and we don't even think they're extraordinary because we're kind of so used to it, I think we do democracy better than anywhere else in the world here in New Hampshire. We do it because we are a citizen legislature. We do it because we are so engaged as citizens in our communities that we still talk to each other. We still acknowledge our shared values. We have our moments when we argue about our differences, but then we come together after those arguments as we should, and we find a way forward. So you should all know that the most important thing for me as governor is having the chance to be here with all of you, to be inspired by the work and the civic engagement that we do every single day, and to know that if we can model that and conquer, we're going to do just fine. And we've been doing just fine. And with your help, we'll continue to. So I thank you so much for having me. I am deeply inspired by each and every one of you, and I'm very, very honored to be your governor, and I'd be pleased to take your questions. Thanks.
The governor has the last few minutes for questions and answers. If anybody have questions for the governor, I'd like to ask her. Yes. Sorry.
Welcome, Governor Hassan. I'm wondering if you can talk about cities and towns. We are facing, in Lebanon, looking at our budget season right now, and our city manager is asking us to make some pretty hefty investments in transportation, infrastructure, and technology over the next 3 years. But obviously, as the pressure on our budget is just compounded by retirement, just the cuts that we've seen over the last several years and downshifting from the state. Just can you address some of that?
But sure, I mean, one of the things we were able to do in the budget was we increased aid to cities and towns again after years of cuts. I know it isn't as much as people wanted, but it is a start towards the kind of trajectory we should have. Similarly, we have made changes to the retirement system starting back in 2006, and I think over time those are going to improve things. We're going to continue to need to look at that along with a number of other issues. And we were talking a little bit at lunchtime, I think there are some very good examples going on about regionalization, about compacts between cities and towns that might help them lower some of their costs, and those are some of the other things that we need to continue to work on together. I'm very, very aware of what the last 5 years have been like for municipal governments, and we are working hard to address that issue, understanding that the recovery is happening, but it's slow, and we're going to have to do this a step at a time.
Thank you, and thank you for coming to the great city of Lebanon.
Any other questions? Yes.
I work for an aging services organization that's been really affected by the sequester.
Yeah.
And we live in a rich and creative state. And I'm just thinking that maybe it's time for the state to think of a way to step in and help. Our agency, which serves Grafton County elders, has a $90,000 cut to our nutrition programs. At the same time that many of our clients are struggling with food stamp cuts. A Dartmouth student in the master's degree program at Dartmouth just did a survey of some of our congregate meal participants. More than a third expressed severe food insecurity. So we are it. And I'm looking at furloughs for our staff, which are pretty much low to moderate income people. And we're looking at cuts to the food program. And I think this is a pretty sad state compared to a rich state.
Yeah, I thank you for the comment. The sequester is having this kind of impact in a number of areas, and it's not an all of a sudden impact, it's a gradual one. So one of the things I have been doing is working with the federal delegation to urge them to end the sequester and get to a budget deal that's a fact-based budget deal and not just this kind of across-the-board cuts that the sequester put in. Food insecurity continues to be an issue for 1 out of 9 New Hampshire citizens. And for anybody who wants to know where they might put good charitable work or dollars, right now, the New Hampshire Food Bank and its related programs are a good place to do it. They have a huge need right now. As a couple of grocery stores have left the state, they are losing a significant amount of their support. So it's not an immediate answer to you. I would like to talk with you, and there are other agencies and nonprofits in your kind of situation to see how we can be strategic with the state helping as well. Not necessarily with money, but certainly with some strategic partnerships, because it continues to be a real issue. And I thank you for getting up and talking about it too, because one of the things that's hard is the sequester impact is seen in small units in a way, and it's hard. So I think people are thinking that it doesn't really have much of an impact, when in fact it is.
Any other questions?
Well, I am very grateful for all of you, for everything you do, and for inviting me today, and I look forward to working with you some more. Thank you.